Hello folks, this is Gábor, and today I want to talk about the Russian-Ukrainian conflict and the delusions and wishful thinking that there is around this war. And when I look around, I see that most of the people have succumbed to these delusions. And of course, I'm not sure that they are delusions because, well, I don't know, I cannot read the future, but at least I want to offer another perspective. And why is this perspective important? Well, first thing is that how now the media and politicians work pretty much everywhere in the world is that you have some sort of perspective and they will never challenge this perspective. They will always say, see and look at what the majority thinks, how the majority behaves, and they will support this perspective. Support, well, if it's lies, it's lies. If it's not lies, it's not lies. It doesn't really matter. The point is that they want to have political gains and political control. So it doesn't really matter what the truth is until they control the narrative. And this is like coronavirus was. I'm saying was because I think now nobody talks about it. Anyway, it's not the topic now. So the Ukrainian war is really, really serious, right? And what I see is that most of the people have their opinion based on memes, mostly based on Ukrainian reports, and mostly based on, again, wishful thinking. And this wishful thinking is that there is Russia, there is Putin. Putin attacked Ukraine, and he mainly undervalued what the Ukrainian army is capable of, and he didn't expect the unison from the West, and what he was planning is just falling apart. Maybe this is the case, but just don't believe in it 100%. At least try to challenge it. Because the way I see the situation is that, and I'm trying to be as tactful as possible here. First of all, when it comes to who is the good guy and who is the bad guy, we tend to jump into conclusions really easily. I can have millions of previous examples when it comes to Taliban, for example. Yeah, when they were fighting the Soviets, they were the good guys. When they were fighting the US, they were the bad ones. And a lot of examples like that. And I just want to say it outright that Ukrainians are not really the good guys, right? When it comes to political power, right? Or the political entity of Ukraine. And when it comes to political leadership, we see them, or we saw them before the war, as corrupt, as pretty much incapable of leading a country. And Ukraine was not really a failed state before the war, but wasn't entirely far away from it. At least not working very well. And this would be an opinion of an average Ukrainian before the war as well, according to the polls, that like the approval rating of Zelensky was really low, and the approval rating of the whole political elite was, maybe is, I don't know, still really low. This is what we see, and there are also a lot of problematic elements in the leadership of governments from our perspective, because they tend to be very nationalistic. The zero-sum nationalists, meaning that my country can only be alive if your country fails or suffers dearly, which is, well, mostly not acceptable from a Western point of view. And there were a lot of condemnations towards Ukraine the condemnation, for example, from Hungary because of their language law. The Hungarian minority was suffering from that because they couldn't use the language as freely as possible, or at least as we want them to use here in this part of the world. But okay, maybe you say you don't give a shit about Hungarians or what the Hungarian government says. I don't like it. Fair enough, though. There is also the Azov battalion, which was condemned by the United States, and they were proclaimed as a Nazi group, or to be more precise, a supremacist group, a white supremacist group. So neither the Western perspective nor the Ukrainian perspective for their own country was entirely positive. And I think we should also be careful for giving unconditional political support to Ukraine. And I want to make it 100% clear now that I'm not fucking talking about the refugees, right? The refugees deserve all the support we can give them. Yeah, I'm not talking about don't give a shit about all the women and children fleeing from Ukraine. Do give a lot of shit about them, and better said, support them as much as you can, or as much as we can. I spent 2 days in my flat just grabbing everything that I didn't need, and half of it I already gave to charity organizations. Another half I'm going to give tomorrow, and I also plan to sign up for voluntary work helping the refugees. So the humanitarian aspect is out of this conversation, all right? Refugees need to be helped, period. When it comes to the character of Putin and the war itself, I see that in the media it's generally accepted that Putin has miscalculated everything. He is in a rage. He is actually had just one plan, and just plan A, and he needed to make this plan succeed, and he didn't have anything else in his pocket. And that feels to me more like projection. You know, when I look at the Western leaders, that they have no clue, they are ineffective, they have no moral standards, absolutely true. And Putin, I understand the hate, because he is a guy that is calculating, he is cunning, he has never lost a war before, and he opposes whatever we on the West stand up for. But I have this feeling that it's actually not Putin who is underestimating Ukrainians and us, but actually the other way around. We are underestimating him gravely. And my view is, when I look at the map of Ukraine and the Russian progress into Ukraine, what I see is that Russia is actually winning the war. And I think within a month or two, more like within a month, it's going to be clear that Russia is winning the war, even with all the wishful thinking around it. Now, these are my feelings, and I might not be right. But at least all I'm asking, just have at least some sort of doubt the mainstream narrative and the narrative that everybody is talking about. Because, and think about this for 2022, 2023, and the upcoming years, these years are going to be extremely chaotic. Don't jump into quick conclusions, and don't fully support wishful thinking, and just try to have other perspectives in your life and try to make a decision on what is real, not on your fantasies and not on your wishes. Yeah, because of course wishful thinking might be right, but better to be careful. And with that said, I just want to add that if you want my sources, I'm happy to give that to you. Until then, bye and good luck for the Ukrainian refugees.